Hello and welcome to ThePrint. This is Prabhakar Tamilarasu from ThePrint Chennai Bureau. And today, in today's Political Adda, we are going to discuss about the political implications of the recent stampede incident that happened in a political rally, especially Vijay's political rally that happened in Karur on Saturday evening. So today with us, we have political analyst and Professor Gladston Xavier, and we have senior associate editor Sharan Poovanna to discuss about this. So let me start with Gladwin, sir. So this is the first crisis that Vijay is facing ever since he began his political journey. So in the stampede incident that happened in Karur, as many as 41 people have died, and still 50 more are being getting treated at the hospitals. So how do you look at this incident, and how do you look at the response of Vijay, sir, in the first place?
Hello to your viewers, and thank you for having me on the show. First of all, this is a moment of deep condolence. Our heart is filled with a real anguish of what has happened, and also no words to console people who have gone out in support of Vijay, and this has happened. But this is a build-up. What has happened is a build-up. Continuously, Vijay has been drawing a lot of attention, a lot of crowds, right from last year. But ever since he started the party last year, there's been a hiatus, not much of campaign in between. And now, from last month, starting from Madurai onwards, the campaigns have drawn a lot of crowds. The crowds, as such, are very different four types, as I would divide the crowds into. The first are just the enthusiastic people who want to see this face of Vijay, who is the matinee idol, who want to come and probably come close to him and just show his face and say, okay, I've seen Vijay. That's in reality in the flesh and blood. Seeing that is very different. It's an enthusiastic audience. And then there are also people who support him as a politician, people who come out to support him as a politician, who want to see what difference he's going to make. The third type of audience or people around him are people who are waiting for a chance to jump into the bandwagon and say, look, I want to join this change movement and comes as a relief. The fourth are the office bearers or people who are kind of elbowing for a space and they wanted to join this so that there's no other space in the DMK or the AIDMK or the other parties, there's no space available and because of various reasons. And therefore, I want to be part of this group. I want to be actively involved. And these are kind of just rough classifications of people who came. Now, if you look at the type of audience that he has been attracting are from all ages because he's quite a young person in politics. He's a first timer in politics and all that, does not have a solid political background. And he's converting his fan clubs into a larger political background. So, this has what has attracted. The first response to anything like this, we must say, that was shocking. Vijay himself was shocked, and probably out of the trauma, his reactions were not as expected by any mature politician. Now, first of all, if you look at the build-up to the entire system, the campaign, people were delayed and made to wait for close to 4 to 6 hours. That's the delay. Now, as these things delay in the sweltering heat with very little arrangements, it's bound to spiral up to a disaster. Now, having worked with large crowds, I've seen how crowds behave. The crowd behavior becomes very anticipatory, becomes very tense when people are kept waiting. And this is very common in crowd behavior. And the crowd can turn into a mob when the desired goals are not met. For example, if he doesn't come on time or when he shows up suddenly, the crowd can turn into a mob. And when one person starts doing something, everybody starts doing it. So this is kind of a mimetic desire people have. I've seen Vijay. Have you seen him? Have you seen him? I have not seen him. Like that, it's called a mimetic desire. Now, this mimetic desire tries to penetrate into almost everybody who's there and enhances the anticipation. Now, with that, what happens is what followed. A small incident where one or two people could have, been harmed escalates into large happenings like this where hundreds of people are injured and people who are hurt and then people get even collapse and there's no immediate first aid because there's no way to reach the first aid at that point because people are not equipped to handle such situations. Now in this I see the reaction of Vijay is not very surprising to me because he has not had the experience of handling these large crowds earlier apart from being an actor. And these non politicized masses and people on the ground who are not politicized up to an extent, they also did not know how to handle the situation. So, all combined has escalated into this and caused this precipitation of loss of human life. So, that's kind of my first long answer to your short question. If that makes
Yeah. So you said like the masses were gathering, they were largely a political gathering, if I should put it. So do you think like it is a shock for him, like for as it is for all other politicians in state, it is also a shock for him. But then to not react or not even address the press in the Trichy airport. So if I should put it in the order, so he was addressing the gathering at 7:15 p.m. and then he spoke for 15 minutes. He left the place. He was reaching at Trichy airport around 9 o'clock. There reporters were asking him questions, but then he evaded them. He didn't respond to them. He reaches Chennai before 10 o'clock. And then even before that, at 8:30, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister is expressing his concern via social media platform X or Twitter. And before 10 or 11, people like political party leaders, including Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has expressed their grief. And Vijay has reacted. This first reaction comes only at 11:15 p.m., which is after everybody in this country has reacted. Vijay, like he is reacting to his own party's people's death. So, do you think like he made it well?
No, see, that's what the lack of experience is what is showing up. See, any mature politician at this point will immediately come out and condole the death of people, whoever it may be. And also, you should not shy away from being sorry, you know, because that's also up to taking some responsibility. People who are organizers should not shy away from taking responsibility, saying that people are coming for you. They're not coming for anybody else. They're not coming for Busi Anand or whoever the leaders are. They're not coming for them. It's coming for this face value. So when people come for this face value, it's important to recognize the fact that people are coming for this face value and then apologize, directly come and apologize and say, I'm extremely sorry for what has happened. And I think let's go ahead and console people who are going this and put people on the ground. Now, if you see, I've heard from the ground, some of my friends are also there. I've been talking to them. I've heard that all other party cadres were on the ground, blocking off, cordoning off people, helping, and just dived into relief, and we're doing all that. Now, what message are we sending? Him not meeting the press in Trichy is a concern, but that also I would not say that's a major concern because that could also cause another flurry of things. Coming to Chennai, immediately he could have been advised to meet the press in Chennai and say, look, if I am there, I don't want to cause more confusion. I don't want to have attract more crowd. Seeking the safety of, in the interest of seeking safety of everybody else, I simply withdrew and could have given a very neat explanation to that, which is acceptable. Wherever he goes, there are crowds. Even in the airport, there's a crowd. It's not like fleeing away from that. Now, that's one. In other cases, you could easily stay in the place and manage. Stay there and manage. You could stay there in Karur and manage the situation, giving clear instructions. Now, in any kind of this, for example, in Madurai, we saw people being thrown off using bouncers. So literally being so there
Yeah.
is a need for crowd regulation and instruct the crowds because cadres need discipline. If you don't discipline your cadres, if you see all the social media things that are coming out that are challenging the law and order, these are all uninformed, uninitiated audience. As you rightly said, they are apolitical. Sometimes they're political also in these. The need of the hour is to respond and not to react. You need to respond. So the difference between response and reaction are very different. So is there enough political maturity to respond to a situation like this? And you've seen Jallikattu. It was in Tamil Nadu, we have seen, and I was direct witness to what happened in Jallikattu. All the 7 days, I was there, or even more than that. I was also part of the fact finding team that went to look at what happened post Jallikattu when the crowd was dispersed. Now, there was nothing which was unlawful. Nobody was forcing control. Crowds can be regulated if there's a sense of direction. So this is something which we need to register. How do you handle these crowds when large masses come? And are we initiating that discipline within that crowd as leaders? If the leaders don't initiate the discipline, the crowd will be unruly. That's what they will say. And this is what happened in this. And then the reaction, as I would like to point out, is a reaction which needs to be a little more thought out. Well thought out responses need to be laid out because people are coming for you and not for anybody else.
So, Mr. Gladson, the tragedy, yes, and you've very eloquently put, the reaction and how the reaction was very, not up to where it was supposed to be. But does it also then point, I'm trying to bring in the organizational sort of overlap here, that Vijay is running the party alone, and this also sort of points to a larger problem that organizationally, if Vijay is not there on the ground, there is no one else to take over him, take after him rather, or like you said, other political parties had their cadre on the field, which I don't know if TVK had anyone there, or if they did, at least we didn't hear about it, or it wasn't made very apparent. So does this then point to a larger problem within the TVK that it runs solely on Vijay, and sans Vijay, there isn't much that can happen in this party?
See, the hollowness was exposed. That's what it is. It's very hollow. The hollowness was exposed because the party is very young. Whenever we have seen parties being built in Tamil Nadu, the most recent party of Seeman, or even before that, if you see Vijaykanth, if you see these parties, which people take seriously, they had serious cadre building exercises that happened years before they even actually delved into the party politics. But this is not like that. And an actor who's the most saleable actor right now, the way he's getting into politics, has not built his fan clubs like that. He has not built a system or structure that is actually hierarchical. It's a very flat structure. When you have flat structures, when the leader collapses, everything collapses. So then what happens? Everybody needs to come down and take responsibility for this in the party. Now, if you see, there seems to be a fleeing race that has taken place. As soon as the incident took place, the local organizers they themselves went missing. Because one person today I just saw in the news, he had to be searched. He was absconding. The local organizer himself was absconding. That's what they say in the news. Now, that kind of fear needs to be addressed among his own cadres because we have seen Hindi agitations where people were able to take blows on their faces. We have seen the freedom struggle where people were able to take blows on their heads. But a cadre building comes with value. Now, so this is something which he needs to build, shape up, and this is a very shocking reminder of what can happen in future also. Meaning, over here, what can be anticipated, and is there a structure that can withhold it? Can a structure withhold it? So, imagine the political future of such a person. So now this is an alarm which he needs to do a 360 soul searching and then put things in place. He may have good advisors with him, but then you need to have boots on the ground. Advisors are not boots on the ground. You need to have people on the ground who can organize, who can find out, who can do the firefighting on the ground every day. That's when a party gets success and they build up. Otherwise, what will happen is standing on the ivory tower, you can only see these crowds. And whatever happens to them, you are still a very distant reality. That needs to be broken.
No, what will be its political impact on Vijay as well as the political party TV case? What will this incident have? What will the impact of this incident? Like whether he will be able to take it forward next week. Also, he had scheduled for campaigns. Whether that will be stopped or his course of action will be changed, or what do you think? What will be the impact of this incident?
See, the grim reality is that they have to go back to the drawing board, completely refocus, relook. How do they capitalize the fans and the emotions into votes by actually politicizing the masses based on a certain value system and also based on what you stand for and where you stand. So, recalibrate. This is a time to recalibrate. And also, to a large extent, people are not willing to trust somebody like this. The reactions, though there are so many supportive social media videos that are coming, and if you look at the people who have lost their lives, they're never going to come back. Lives are never going to come back. You can't compensate them with 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, or 30 lakhs. You can't do that. And also, the regulations that you need to put in place is strict discipline among the cadres. Somebody coming from a cine field, if you're able to discipline your cadres, then you can move forward. And also, the organization structure is very nebulous at this point. We don't know how the organization is. And if that organization structure is very robust, it will be able to take shocks. Right now, this shock is a big blow. Next week or week after, I don't think the campaigns are going to go well if they start now. Better to go back to the drawing board, take some rest, and first start with consoling people. Vijay, not by himself, he can do it through a video conference or a call or something like that. Better to recoil and then start looking at what possibilities are in future. And it's too soon to say what's going to happen to the party. Parties, things have happened like this before, not to this extent, but violence has happened, stampedes have happened in political parties or in various other gatherings. We cannot discount him right now. It's too early to discount Vijay. But if he comes back with a much better, reformed, re strategized thinking, then I'm sure there's going to be some waves he will create in the coming elections.
So, just from a person outside of Tamil Nadu, now people outside of Tamil Nadu are, sort of introduced to Tamil Nadu's political landscape through their personalities and possibly two political parties, right? So, is this tragedy sort of having a sort of a contrarian impact on Vijay? Because now people know about the Karur tragedy, and by extension are also now realizing that there's a force or there's a person who can attract 50, 60,000 people to a rally single-handedly. Now, is that having a contrarian impact, and what do you make of this nationally?
Definitely, yes. Yeah. Nationally, the Tamil Nadu as a very educated state, a developed state, and things like that, all said and done, there is a lot of attraction to movie stars. Okay, whether it is Rajnikant or Kamal Hassan or Vijay or whoever it is. And there is a build up to this. There is a contrarian view. That is correct. I agree with you on this contrarian view. He's able to attract these masses. But are these masses informed audience? Are the initiated audience who can convert into votes, who can convert themselves into cadres, which is highly questionable. Because these days, media plays such a crucial and important role. And in Tamil Nadu, personality politics have always played a very important role. You can talk about MGR, or you can talk about Jayalalitha, you can talk about anybody else. These personalities, due to movies, have played a very, very important, crucial role by even coming to power at one level or the other, either in the opposition or in the ruling party. Now, this seems to be the trend for a very long time. But again, this is only a media to project, to show one side of you who's portrayed, who's very well engineered in the portrayal. On the other side, what your capabilities are, what your thinking is totally unknown as far as Vijay is concerned. Now, this drawing of audiences, crowds, are very common whether it is Kerala or Tamil Nadu or anywhere in India. Cinema stars, matinee idols draw audience. Even for a opening of a small shop or big shop, whatever shop, an actress drew so much of attention in Kerala. Huge audiences came. So that's quite common. But then, will that be converted to a political mileage? Can they do that? Is again very dubious. But then it has to be built up. When it's built up, the conversion can happen. But what is very surprising is the craziness with which all this happens. The craziness with which all this happens, especially in trying to attract so much of audience. You come and you just show your face and then you go away, and then what happens after that, if you're not willing to take responsibility, then how will you be able to take responsibility for the risks involving governance, which are higher, involves more lives, which involves a lot more of interventions. So that's something which we need to work on.
So as you are mentioning about this governance, so is only Vijay responsible for this tragedy, or should DMK also should take responsibility, or the DMK-led state government should take responsibility for this? Because what we hear from TVK supporters is that there was lack of police force on the ground on Saturday, and there was lack of arrangements from the police side, is what they are claiming. So what do you say?
See, all the blame game will happen. That's no problem, and I have no issues with that. Whether it is DMK or AIDMK. See, just the day before, the previous day, Mr. Edapadi Palanichammy had a rally in the same place. And why something like this did not happen? Is it because he did not attract, like, he attracted less crowd, or is he a lesser leader than? You can't say all that. Now, the most important part over here is you ask for 10,000 people, permission for 10,000 people, but more people show up. At that time, you need to do the firefighting. And the delay, see, many people, many times when politicians are coming or visiting or stars are visiting, the place is cordoned off. Even when a prime minister comes, he attracts thousands of people, millions of people across the globe. And in Tamil Nadu also, he has got a good following. Even then, when he comes, the crowds are disciplined, they're cordoned off, and they themselves keep regulating. It's self regulation. Now, we are at a point where this self regulation is a problem. Whether you blame the Tamil Nadu government or less police force or whatever it is the people who are flocking behind these cine stars needs to stop. That needs to stop. That's something which Tamil Nadu has come to a shocking realization that what will happen if you go, like, see, even in the air show that happened recently, 5 people died. Okay, that is because of exhaustion, water, and things like that. Arrangements like that. Crowding itself is a problem, and people are looking for entertainment outside their houses, and this is one such entertainment factor, which was not properly uh, calculated, was not properly the risk analysis or risk assessment. I don't know who did the risk assessment. The risk assessment should have been done much better. And it's very easy to blame the parties, the opposite parties. The primary responsibility lies with the organizers, because you are the one who's going to ask for permission. It's your rally, and you can't blame the police. How many police forces can come and can work with you? It's not possible. And also, if there are screens that are placed in different places, and if there were adequate number of water fonts, and if the crowd was regulated, or if there was a road show or something like that, then people will just look at you and have peace by just seeing your face, and then people will go away. They don't have to congregate. So whenever congregations are allowed, people are allowed to converge at one point, and you speak just for 10 minutes. And the 10 minutes, what can you do? People are trying to touch you. People are trying to accost you. People are trying to do all kinds of things. So then, how are you preparing your people? And also, lot of incendiary remarks that are coming on the social media are not very helpful. They need to stop, and some control needs to be taken, and stop this kind of, and I would call this whole nonsensical rallying behind leaders needs to stop, because any educated society needs to be more rational in why we follow these people. Are we following them for what they are on screen, or are we following them for what they are and what they're capable of? So this difference is still lacking among people.
So about the political opposition, now we know the DMK. Udayanidhi Stalin went there. He can, at least for the optics, he cancelled a foreign trip. He was back there. He was helping out. Now, will the DMK use this tragedy to further clip Vijay's wings? How do you see this as, from the ruling point perspective?
See, at the moment, to be very frank, every disaster is an opportunity. when it comes to anybody, any political party. Every disaster is an opportunity. Now, this opportunity is higher when it comes to people in power. One is to prove a point to say that, look, doesn't matter who died, it's important that we go and help them. That broad-mindedness is important. Secondly, what happens is you always are looking to score points. Now you see, almost all the political parties are parading over there. They're going there, they're meeting these people, meeting the victims, giving them whatever they can, some relief material for the person. But we have to look at the prevention point of view. Now, will the DMK also train its cadres to make sure this thing doesn't happen when they are organizing political meetings? Can there be strict laws enforced to do this? Next is, instead of, that's one way to look at it, but must appreciate one thing: the hospitals, the doctors, the kind of support that people have got, which I have had the opportunity to speak to some people who came from Karur yesterday only. I've heard it is plus plus. The services are quite commendable. Whatever political mileage they're willing to score, that apart, the services have been reaching people and they're being taken care of. The second part of this is, as we are trying to decipher or do some postmortem on this tragedy, it is important that this is not used for any political mileage, obviously. Wait, and if relief, see, first thing is rescue. In any disaster, as somebody who specializes in disaster management and who's worked on several disasters and post-war and war scenarios around the world, the first important step is rescue. That has happened very well all across. The second is, can we look at what is happening in terms of relief? That is also going on right now. So we are still in the rescue and relief phase. The next phases will happen. Next 5 phases will unfold much later. But right now, the government is doing a good job, and they definitely deserve an appreciation from even if by all kinds of people. And whether the inquiry commission, what kind of findings they will come up with, what kind of recommendations they will give us, how those recommendations are going to be implemented, all this is yet to be seen. But as of now, what things have done is there's a calming effect on the field. And from what I saw from the images, the post campaign or the post meeting scenario, the place looked like a battlefield. It really looked like a battlefield. So much of destruction, so many slippers all over the place, and the garbage that was thrown and things like that. In a normal political party or meeting, this doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It just indicates the panic the people have had just to escape and flee the place. Now, panic itself will kill. The panic will kill. So, therefore, it's important for us not to have people panic and not to allow people to get to that situation. That's the key over here. And for that, the government of Tamil Nadu needs to play a very, very important and a proactive role.
So, in your response, say what should Vijay be doing immediately now? Yes, we know his response was very underwhelming. We know that his cadre couldn't, step up. We understand. What should he do immediately as a confidence building measure? What should he immediately do in order to sort of not lose the momentum that he's had so far? How does he win that goodwill back, or at least a confidence building measure?
It's a long way. It's a long way to go. But then, see, Vijay is definitely in the hearts and minds of a lot of people. As an actor, through his various things and what he spoke and how he speaks and all that. Now, the first confidence building measure is send his people and start consoling people who have died or in the hospital. Not very obviously. Don't do it obviously. Don't do it like, not to take a bouquet and give them a bouquet. And very apolitically, this must be done first. And second is, as I said earlier, go back to the drawing board. Look at what are the needs of people. Don't go to the wants. Go to the needs of people. And how can they be compensated? And where have you hurt people? Where are these hurts? Can we work on them? Where have they been harmed? Can we work on this? And Vijay needs to take personal responsibility to fix that. Along with that, of course, he's got a large team around him. And look at that. And third is, can he walk the talk? Can he walk the talk? The walking the talk is very important because so far he has never had an opportunity. Now, this is a self created crisis, and it's also a great opportunity to walk the talk by taking care of people. Apart from all these photographs and glitz and glamour, can he really walk the talk and be serious about his relief and rehabilitation measures? The next important part is looking at politicization of the cadres, which can take a couple of years. Do not go on the street and do not go and say that I'm your leader and I'm here to save you and rescue you. No, that kind of Superman tactics doesn't work, and everybody knows that. But people on the ground don't realize that there's no magic wand to change this. There's no magic wand. And so what happens is Vijay should go back and start organizing small level meetings. Small meetings, organize them and politicize these groups. And that's where cadre building comes. Any community organization starts with solid cadre building. And this cadre building has to happen at the very, very grassroots. With that, I think it can start. And to start, I mean, another starting point would be an apology note itself to say that, look, an apology to the people, a concern letter, outlining what happened instead of going and filing FIRs and things like that, which is also not wrong. But that legal action needs to be taken if they really find something is wrong. But then before that, address the humanitarian needs and then go to the other things. I think that's a starting point. And then later, I'm sure other things will fall in place.
So as you pointed out, like making use of this issue, earlier Vijay has been putting himself as there is only DMK versus TVK in the for the upcoming 2026 election. But making use of this crisis, yesterday Edappadi Palanisamy has reacted to Chief Minister for a small video clip where Chief Minister has appealed to people not to spread rumors in social media and remain calm. But whereas the opposition leader Edappadi Palanisamy has questioned this, like who is spreading rumor, whether it is your party man, like he has listed a list of items like, which are the rumors you are referring to? Basically, he was hitting at DMK. Do you think like the political parties are making use of this incident to put them forward in the run up to 2026 assembly election?
You see, the mileage is always there. The mileage will always be there. They will take this mileage. That's no doubt at all about it. Now, COVID was an opportunity for both the parties. First, Edappadi Palanisamy was in charge. Then Stalin came and he was in charge of it. So it is a political spectacle. There's no doubt about it. But then must appreciate the chief minister for coming out with a neutral statement. The statement was very neutral. There was no blame game. There's no blame game. Now, if you're reading in between lines and if you're making meanings out of it, that's up to each political party. But the statement is quite neutral, and he's not blaming Vijay. He's not blaming any party. He was saying, let's grieve for people who have whose lives have been lost. And in between, what has happened is a lot of people have come up with many conspiracy theories. It's very common to have conspiracy theories that come up. Why did the electricity turn off? What happened to the ambulances? Why did the ambulance? We don't know. Only people on the ground will be able to tell us that, and we have to wait for a thorough investigation to get over. But however, using this to get political mileage is not a very civilized thing. It's not very civilized. It is a humanitarian tragedy, human tragedy. The tragedy must be condoned and the tragedy must be taken care of. And then make sure this is not repeated anytime, anywhere on the planet. So for that, come up with proper, solid guidance measures, and those measures are going to help us further in any of these meetings. Now, many of these things have borne fruition. Like for example, when in a place where uh, a thatched shed burnt down so many children, Tamil Nadu government came up with regulations of no thatched roofs anywhere ever, which has borne good fruit. We have never had accidents like that after that again. So similarly, there could be certain regulations, and politicians need to also be very aware of not seeking mileage out of tragedy. There are tragedies that are created and then seeking mileage. This is not one like that. Now, this tragedy, there's no need to take mileage. There's no need to benefit from this. It's only about being cautious and careful and taking care of people who have lost their lives. That's how it should be. And Edappadi Palanisamy pointing out as an opposition leader, he needs to also be aware of what he would have done, what could have done. So come up with constructive criticisms where the government also needs to follow. As much as Mr. Stalin is the chief minister, Mr. Edeppadi is the opposition leader. So his suggestions will be taken seriously. So being critical is important, and it's important to be constructively critical. That is what will help in terms of tragedy.
Mr. Gladson, my last question to you. Now, for our viewers, has this, is there a precedent of such incidents in Tamil Nadu with, other political leaders? And have they come out, how have they come out after such a tragedy? And, or will this be, known, or will this legacy or this taint weigh heavy on Vijay moving forward? It's a two-part question, sir.
The first part question is not that I am aware of loss of life. See, there have been many incidents like this. Like, for example, Mahamaha. Oh, it's a temple festival when Jayalalitha went, and a lot of people died over there. It's not a political party, but then it was a political person who went there, a leader went there, and then a lot of people died. And earlier also we've had stampedes and people crowding, but the extent to which this has happened, I don't think, what I can think of as far as I know, has not happened to this extent. However, coming to the second part of your question, this definitely will weigh in on Vijay. This is a blot on his career, definitely a blot. What has happened is a major, massive tragedy where 41 people we know have passed away, but there are a lot of others who we don't know what happened to. They're still sick, they're in the hospitals, they're still convalescing and things like that. But again, this is an alarm bell. Definitely, this is an alarm bell, which in the career trajectory of Vijay will never be forgotten. This cannot be forgotten. It's a scar. It's a deep scar in the minds of people as well as Vijay as well. So it is important for him to rethink, analyze, sit with people, and look at the dynamics of community. Anybody who understands community dynamics will understand this in the larger perspective and say that, look, people are fans, they are not your political cadre. And that differentiation, if that is taken care, then there'll be a much better understanding of what's going on. And he will need to look at all the corners. He needs to look at every single corner of his action and do not leave any T uncrossed or do not leave any I undotted. That way, if there's more specific, targeted intervention and planning, well, the future is very long. Now, I will not, it's too soon to call him ineffective. It's too soon. And so that way, it's welcome that a person like Vijay is coming to party politics and various other things. People are looking for a breath of fresh air. All that is important. But then one needs to be very cautious and committed to the causes that you're actually speaking. So it should not be like, I practice and you preach. You need to practice what you preach. And that's what makes you a very integral person, a person with integrity, where you think, you speak, and you do what is expected of you, and you move forward in that. That's how much I can tell you for now.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, Mr. Gladson, for so eloquently explaining these nuances to our viewers. Thank you so much for joining in, sir, and thank you so much, Prabhakar, for
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Poovanna.